Let's take a look at what's going on with Dogecoin today, guys. All right, so in my opinion, have a feeling there's some more blood in the water. Check out this chart right here. I'm on the weekly time frame of Dogecoin and I'm looking at the 9 moving average right here, this blue line. And we broke below that 9 moving average right here, and every time we are coming into it while we're underneath it, we're getting resistance right on that blue line right there. And like I talk about in my videos, when we're underneath the 9 moving average, then it's going to give us resistance and push us to the downside. It's basically being in a bad position. When we break above it, like we did over here, then we can start getting support on it. We were getting support on that blue line all throughout this area right here, and it pushed us to the upside. So the other thing is okay. So to get bullish again, we're gonna need to break above that 9 moving average, and I think it's a lot easier for the 9 moving average to come down and then break it going sideways, as opposed to us trying to come up and do this kind of thing where we come up to the, like when it's on top of us, we come up and it acts as resistance. So what I want to see us do, hopefully, is we can hold support maybe at dot 185. I have a limit order at dot 185 right now. We might see some more blood in the water though, and we might go further down. This 180 moving average is sitting at around 13 cents, somewhere around there. Maybe we'll go down there. The next Fibonacci retracement level to the downside is 10 cents. But yeah, so like I was saying, we have this 9 moving average. We're clearly below it, and we're getting a big red candle right now pushing us to the downside. I'm curious if we're going to hold at 185 or if we're going to push further down. Like I was just talking about, this candle right here came down to dot 185, got a little bounce. Now we're right above that dot 185 level, and yeah. So what I want to see us do, what I would like to see us do, is go sideways maybe a little bit on that 185, see the 9 moving average come down, follow us down, and then maybe break through it going sideways. What's also possible is if we break that that dot 185, the 78% level, then it's possible that we'll go down 10 cents, or maybe that 180 moving average, this orange line right here, which is the 180 moving average, and we're on the weekly time frame again. But so yeah, that's basically why I have a little bit more bearish sentiment, and I'm actually kind of confident on at least this dot 185 target. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Let's go to the other time frames. Like I've been talking about on this channel, I've also been watching this falling wedge, something like this. Let's see. It was something like this, I believe, where we had resistance, resistance, support, support, support. Not perfect right here. I mean, I guess we did kind of get a little bit of support right there, boom, and then up. And then right here too, a little bit of support, boom, up. But basically, falling wedge pattern, we're bouncing in between these two channels, falling to the downside. It's getting tighter and tighter and tighter. If we can break that resistance going to the upside, then I'll be looking at maybe dot 339 or maybe dot 394, these Fibonacci retracement levels. And if you don't know how I got the Fibonacci retracement levels, we had a big run. This was the start of the run, and this was pretty much the top of the run. We started having trouble. It looked like we were topping out a little bit. We weren't pushing past this area, so I got the Fibonacci retracement level, and you can do this in any chart. Get the Fibonacci retracement level or chart tool, drag from the bottom of the run to the top of the run, and then that gives me those levels that I'm talking about. And a lot of times they act as support and resistance. Just want to let you know where I got those from. That's where that 185 target is at the 78%. Fibonacci retracement level. It came down, hit that level perfectly, got a nice big bounce around 25% up, came down again, got a nice bounce to the upside again. This one was like 10% or 7%, I can't remember. I guess I could just do the ruler and check it out right now. We got a bounce from there to like the top was like around 18%. Even on the second run, this one was like 25. But anyways, like I said, we're bouncing in between these two trend lines. If we could break that resistance going to the upside, let's say we break this resistance going up, technically a falling wedge pattern, the top of the pattern is the target. So that's why I was saying I'd be looking at these Fibonacci retracement levels. And I also said that the Fibonacci retracement levels act as resistance. So let's say we break up here, might get some resistance right here, have to come down, and then, I don't know, do something like that. But Basically, if we hold support on one of them, the next and we start moving up, the next spot that I'm looking at is the next Fibonacci retracement level moving up. If we start having trouble and going down, then I'll start looking at the one previous, or the one going to the downside, should I say. But we're also looking at this falling wedge, so that we have different things that we're looking at, right? They all kind of make a full picture, all pieces of the puzzle, should I say. So we're holding support right now. Let's see if we can hold support. Let's see if this falling wedge comes into play. I really don't like the way that weekly is looking, though. That's why I kind of wanted to start the video with this, because we're clearly below the weekly nine moving average right here. Boom. And then the weekly 9 moving average is way up here. So like I was saying, maybe we have to go sideways a little bit and then we can get a bounce to the upside. That kind of happened over here where we came down, we broke the support, and then we were kind of going sideways for a couple weeks before we really started to take off. But yeah, let's see what else I was looking at. So this is the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, I'm looking at the falling wedge pattern. Let's see if we can break that going to the upside. I think if we break the support again going to the downside, then I'll start getting more confident at maybe 10 cents. Like I said, my next limit order is at 1.185, but if we start breaking this level, the next spot that I'll be looking at is the next Fibonacci retracement level at 10 cents. And if we go even further than that, the next spot that I'd be looking at after this Fibonacci retracement level is the previous supports. So if we go zoom out a little bit more, let's go to like the monthly time frame. Okay, so we had support right here and we had support right here. That's where I'm getting that second line going to the downside. I don't know how far it's going to go down. And also we have support right here, giving us this trend line right here. Maybe we'll bounce on that line instead of coming all the way down to 10 cents and or 5 cents. The second line is around 0.059. So yeah, those are the like ultimate, like this is like the super bearish scenarios in my opinion. In a bullish scenario, I'm hoping that we could just kind of chill going sideways here, break this resistance, something like that. We might have to readjust it. Let's see, what am I looking at there? Okay, like we might have to, if maybe we break it and then start going sideways and then break to the upside, because let's take a look at what happened in the past. Because right here we broke that resistance. We had a very similar situation last year where we were making a falling wedge. We broke that resistance and then we started going sideways for a while. It took us each one of these candles, I'm on the daily time frame, so each one of these candles is a day. It wasn't like we didn't just break it and then just start shooting up. Like we got a nice little run right here, but it wasn't we had all these days before it really started to take off. So we might be looking at something like that. And that also goes into what I was saying is about going sideways and then breaking that weekly 9 moving average, let's go back to the weekly, going sideways and then letting that weekly moving average come down and catch up with us, then go break it going sideways instead of trying to like go up and hit it and it acting as resistance like I was talking about. Okay, so like I was saying, daily time frame, looking at a falling wedge pattern. Let's see if we could break that resistance, maybe start going sideways, let the weekly 9 moving average catch up to us, then break that going up, and then maybe we can start seeing a bigger move. Kind of skeptical though in general. If we start breaking this resistance going to the upside, then I'll be like, okay, now we have a better shot. Right now we're still waiting for a breakout. We have this resistance, we have this support, we're waiting for a breakout to the upside or to the downside. Are we going to break the resistance or are we going to break the support going down? It's not very clear yet because, I mean, this is what the patterns are for. We have the trend lines and we're waiting to see which way they break. If we break going up, then we could get a better idea. Then we could get more confident on our targets going to the upside, the next Fibonacci retracement levels going up, and or the top of the pattern like I was talking about in a falling wedge. The top of the pattern is technically the target. So yeah. Let's see what else. Okay, so we're on the daily time frame. That covers that. Let's go into like the 4 hour and maybe even the 1 hour, because I've been watching these little trends as well. Okay, so let's talk about just trends in general. If you're new to the channel, if you're new to trading, whatever, I like watching trends. I mean, that's what most of this technical analysis is. But when we're going up, we're looking at the bottoms, the supports. Okay, so we had something like this. We had those supports. We broke that support right here going to the downside. When we're going down, we look at the tops. Top, the resistances. So we get the trend lines and we draw a trend line going down with the tops. Once we break these trend lines, then it's the start of a new trend. Then we can start looking at so like right here, we're going down. We broke that trend going up. Now we can start looking at the bottoms again because we're in an uptrend. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that real quick. Boom. Right here, we broke this one kind of going sideways. When we start going sideways, this is what I like to do. Okay, so let's see. We have that. Let's go ahead and delete these other ones because once we kind of break the trend, we can kind of delete it. But the other thing, like I was just going to say, is when we start going sideways, I like looking at the tops and I like looking at the bottoms, something like that. So we had, well, yeah, right here we kind of got a little bit of support. So let's go ahead and do something like this because it's not always perfectly clear. Sometimes it'll break the trend going sideways and that'll actually be like a flag pattern. So I look at the bottoms. I look at the bottom and the support, the bottoms and the top. So we have, okay, so we broke the trend, right? Then we're kind of going sideways. Instead of just, we could just be going down, but technically we also could be in a channel pattern going sideways and going up. If we break the top going up, then we're starting then we're kind of continuing going up. If we break the bottom, like we came down right here, got a support, moved to the upside, found resistance on that same spot, started heading down. Once we break that bottom, then we can get more confident, then it's going to the downside. So this one broke to the bottom, going to the downside. So it looks like we're in a downtrend again. Just trying to help you guys understand. If you guys are new or whatever, then to trading and stuff like that, that's what I'm trying to help with. All right, so pop quiz. When we're going down, what do we look at? We look at the tops. We're looking at the resistances. So now we're looking at this resistance line right here. It looks like we're kind of testing it right now. If we break it, then I'll be looking, then we'll just start all over again with the trends. We'll see what kind of trend it forms, start looking at the bottoms if we start moving up. But like I was talking about, I'm pretty confident on this .185 target because the bigger time frames outweigh the smaller time frames just because we got this little pop going to the upside. That didn't really mean much when we start looking at the other time frames. Like, all right, so let's take a look at the 4-hour time frame because we had support right here, and support right here, kind of something like that. So we're looking at this trend like this, and you could use each of these time frames to make trades on, but like I said, the bigger ones outweigh the smaller ones, but you could still take advantage of, like, even if you go into the 5-minute time frame, you can see these trends and you can play off of them. But the bigger time frames means that it's probably going to be a bigger percentage. So like I was saying, on the 4-hour time frame, we had support. We broke that support going to the downside. Now we're in a downtrend also on the 4-hour time frame. So until we break this trend line going to the upside, then in my opinion, it's going to push us to the downside. It'll probably act as resistance. Boom, push us down. And I'm looking at .185 again, like I'm talking about. That might be not, and like I started the video, there might be more blood in the water than just going to .185 because even from here to 185 is around 4%. But we might be looking at some more blood in the water coming down here, or that 180 moving average on the weekly that was, let's see, it's somewhere down here at like 13 cents. So we're gonna have to wait and see. The other thing, like if you follow my channel, okay, so I started taking profits up here, or I did take profits up here, and then I started dollar cost averaging these Fibonacci retracement levels. Each one of these yellow lines is one of my positions, and I'm trying to add a little bit more to this .185 position if I can. So when we start moving back to the upside, then I could start trading on them. And like I was telling you, these Fibonacci retracement levels act as resistance sometimes, or they'll act as support where we'll bounce to the upside. Like right here, it kind of looks like we're getting a little bit of support on it. I mean, if you guys were following my channel in this time frame, you guys were seeing like some of the good calls I was making where I bought, I sold, and then I wanted to buy again back here, but I didn't. But like I said, I bought, and then I sold, and then I sold, and then I bought, and then I sold, and then I bought, and then I bought. So, and bought and bought. Right now, I'm in an accumulation phase. I think we're in my opinion, I think we're at a pretty decent level. 20 cents. I don't know. I think that's a pretty good level, especially if you think like one day we'll hit $1. I don't know if that's going to be the case ever, but maybe one day, fingers crossed, we will. Who knows? I have long-term positions and I have short-term positions. All these are kind of more short-term positions, and I have a ledger hardware wallet where sometimes I'll just put some Dogecoin on there, and we'll just let that sit until it gets to $1. But yeah, so most of the stuff that I'm doing is short-term though. All right, so I think that about does it though. On the 1 hour time frame, I'm kind of watching these little trends. I'm also looking at the 4 hour for like short term, but still bigger than 1 hour. And then I'm looking at the Fibonacci retracement levels, and .185 is my next target technically. But I don't know. I'm kind of 50-50 right now. I'm hoping that we can hold support at .185 like we had been. Like I was saying, we came down, hit .185 perfectly, got that huge bounce to the upside. And then we came down, hit it again, got a nice bounce to the upside. Nice little trade right there. And then now we're kind of heading down again. I'm hoping that we can hit it again. Maybe go hit it a couple more times and then actually break that resistance. Then we can really start flying and maybe start trying to hit some of these bigger targets. .248, .294, .339, and .394 maybe. Like I said, I'm watching the Fibonacci retracement levels not only for supports, but as resistances, as targets going to the upside. So, but this is why I started the video though with the weekly time frame, because I really do not. I think this is looking a little bearish. Like when we just take out all the rest of this stuff, the daily time frame, 1 hour trends and 4 hour trends and all that stuff. When we really just when we zoom out and look at the bigger picture, the weekly time frame, we have this 9 moving average right here. Ever since right here, we've been having trouble. Resistance, pushing us to the downside. We've been getting some pretty gnarly red candles in this area. We got these 2 big red candles right here. We got these 2 red candles right here. We've been getting red candles for the past 3 weeks. I mean, if you look at this area right here, we weren't even getting these big red candles in this. I mean, we got like a big red candle right here, but this one looks like way bigger than even the biggest one back here. So we've been in a little bear market right here, in my opinion. And yeah, we're just going to have to wait and see. This is nothing new to crypto, though. If you guys have been dealing with crypto for a while, this is kind of a good thing, though, in general, too, is what I like to kind of, glass half full kind of thing, because now we get cheaper Dogecoin than when we were up here. We can get a bigger position in Dogecoin if you want to. And like I was saying, when I took profit up here, now we're pushing to the downside. We can scoop up more Dogecoin, and maybe one day it'll pump back to the upside, as opposed to like the S&P 500 or whatever, where it's just kind of like moving to the upside and it doesn't really do much. It kind of just slowly moves up. I mean, it doesn't even do that. If you look at it compared to this chart, it's probably something like this, where it's not really that big of moves. But when we're going up, like let's say, okay, like let's check it out real quick. From this run down here, going up, that was around 375%, which was amazing. Going to the downside, from the top to the bottom where we're at right now, 59%. So that means that we have opportunities to take advantage of these big movements. That's why I like watching Dogecoin, even compared to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's not getting this big of movement. And yeah, I haven't done this in a while, but let's take a look at Dogecoin compared to Bitcoin real quick. This chart is Dogecoin compared to Bitcoin. So if this chart is going down, that means that it's better to be in Bitcoin. If this chart is going up, then it's better to be in Dogecoin. If you were to put all your Bitcoin money into Dogecoin right here, you would have made more profit in this area in investing in Dogecoin over Bitcoin. And if you would have sold all your Dogecoin right here and bought Bitcoin instead, you would have probably lost less money while going to the downside. So like I said, this chart is basically saying if we're going up, then you want to be in Dogecoin. If it's going down, you want to be in Bitcoin at least. I mean, it's a better investment. Maybe I'm not explaining that okay, but anyways, let's go to the daily time frame. And one thing that I'm watching on this chart, one thing that I'm watching on this chart is we had support right here. We had support right here. It looks like we're getting a little bit of support right here, but the main thing is I'm watching this trend line right here where we have this support. If we break this going to the downside, then that's gonna be a signal that we might be heading to that, those 10 cent, 5 cent, 13 cent levels. We've been trending down. We have resistance, getting resistance all in that area. If we could break this resistance level going to the upside, then we can start getting more confident on that what's it called, the pattern that we were looking at, the falling wedge pattern, excuse me. So if we break this going to the upside, let's say we go sideways for a while and break this going to the upside, then we could get more confident on that falling wedge pattern. If we break this going to the downside, then we could probably get more confident on those really bearish targets. So keep your eye on Doge to Bitcoin. The ticker symbol is Doge BTC, and this one's the Coinbase one. So yeah, it's another thing to keep your eye on. And then let's also take a look at Bitcoin real quick, because I've been mostly just looking at Bitcoin for a while. For a while I was doing all three of these charts and I just kind of stopped for whatever reason. But we have the Fibonacci retracement levels that we're looking at. We had this big run right here, and like I was talking about earlier, when we have a big run and we start kind of topping out, we get the Fibonacci retracement level. We drag from the bottom of the run to the top of the run, and that gives us those levels to watch. A lot of the times they act as support and resistance. So the next, like if I wanted to, I don't know. One spot that we could be looking at is the 38 and or the 50% level. These levels are sitting at 73,000 and 62,000 if we continue to head down. Right now, there is a little trend line right here where we have support pushing us to the upside. If we break this trend line going to the downside, I might start looking at these Fibonacci retracement levels just as targets. I'm not in Bitcoin. I kind of don't really trade it that much. I more just kind of buy and hold it. But those would be spots that I'd be kind of looking at that might give us a bounce. Like let's say we hit this 38% level, we might get a bounce there. And if we come down to 50% level, maybe we'll get a bounce there. Technically, the other thing that I was kind of looking at is, I'm on the daily time frame. We have resistance right here, kind of one of the tops. And then right here, we have another top. We have this trend line of this top right here. A lot of the time, or sometimes what happens is you'll have this resistance, and when we break above it, then it'll act as support when we come into contact with it. So maybe another thing that could happen is we break the trend line going to the downside and it holds support, and then we get a bounce on that previous resistance. Now is going to turn into support, possibly. If we break that line right there going to the downside, then I'm going to get much more confident on the Fibonacci retracement levels. I really like the 50% level in general when we get a retracement. A lot of times it comes down to the 50%, and then it'll start coming back up. But I mean, we see on Dogecoin that sometimes it doesn't even stop at 50%. Sometimes it'll go all the way down. Let's go back to Dogecoin real quick. But those are some of the levels I'm looking at. 50% is 62,000 from the bottom of this run to the top of the run. Maybe we'll come down to 62,000 and then come back up. Maybe we'll get support on this line right here, this previous resistance line. Maybe it'll act as support now. We also have this support right here, this support giving us this trend line as well. Let me see. We also had this support giving us this trend line. We broke that trend line going down. This was a bearish signal in my opinion. Then I started looking at the tops like I was talking about earlier, where we once we start heading down, we look at the tops, top, resistance line going to the downside. We need to break this resistance before we could start getting bullish again. We need to break this line right there before we can start getting bullish again, if that makes sense. At least one, that's one signal. Like I said, there's many pieces of this puzzle or the puzzle that we're looking at, and we just have to kind of look at all of them together. Let's go back to Dogecoin real quick though. Like I was saying, sometimes 50% will get a bounce, but if we look at Dogecoin, let's go back to Dogecoin. Sometimes it goes all the way down to the bottom. So let's see. Right here, we started this run down here, had a nice big run, then we started coming down. We did bounce on these Fibonacci retracement levels a lot. Support, resistance, support. But my main point is we came up and then we came all the way pretty much back down. Once we hit the bottom, then we started bouncing to the upside. I don't think Bitcoin's going to do that. And that's why I was saying Bitcoin doesn't move as much as Dogecoin. It's kind of one of the reasons I like Dogecoin is because we get these big, huge swings. It's one of the older meme coins. It's actually probably one of the first meme coins, I guess. And it has a pretty decent market cap. Let me find a thing real quick. How do you pause this? Okay, here it is. Okay, so if we look at coinmarketcap.com, I think that's what it is. We're looking at the market cap of these cryptos, right? So basically how much money is in the coin. Bitcoin's number 1, Ethereum's number 2. But if you look at the top 10, Dogecoin is number 8, which is not bad. I mean, we're beating out a lot of stuff technically, you know what I mean? If it's top 10, that's kind of good. This is another reason why I like Dogecoin. Yeah, it's top 10, the only meme coin in the top 10, I think, right? Beating out Cardano even, you know what I mean? That's kind of cool. Solana's overtook us, but yeah, that's just basically it's another reason why I like Dogecoin. We get big swings in it. It's one of the older meme coin. It's like probably the oldest meme coin. It has a pretty decent market cap. And then, Elon hasn't really pumped it in a while, but that's neither here nor there. Like I said, the other thing I like about it too is it's very cheap to a peer-to-peer coin. You know what I mean? It doesn't cost that much to send someone Dogecoin. So yeah, I like that about it. 1 second. Okay, so taking a look at Dogecoin again. Yeah, I have a limit order at .185, but there might be some more blood in the water. And the only reason not the only reason, but I'm trying to at these Fibonacci retracement levels. I'm trying to accumulate at these Fibonacci retracement levels, just so I can dollar cost average and kind of group it out so it's not just in one spot, or I don't do it just randomly right here and then it comes down. As you guys saw, we hit .185 perfectly and got some pretty good bounces off that. Hopefully you guys traded off that or whatever. I mean, I haven't really been trading off of it. I've been more trying to accumulate than anything, but there was some pretty good trades in there. Like I said, we hit .185, went up like 25%. If you would have been watching that trend line, we started heading down. You could have sold and then hit up that .185 target again, hit a limit order right there again, got a nice little pump to the upside. It went up like, what was it, like 15% or whatever, 18%. And then sold again, and then maybe I'm guessing that we're going to hit it again. But I'm trying to accumulate at .185. If we start breaking this, then I'm going to kind of wait till maybe like 10 cents or maybe like that 13 cents or maybe this trend line right here. But yeah, just trying to accumulate at these different levels. And like when we first started up here, I was saying that I had a smaller position, and then this was like more of a medium position, and then or no, let's see. I think this was a medium position. I think this was a larger position just because I wasn't sure how far it was going to go down. But yeah, in general, I'm just trying to accumulate at these Fibonacci retracement levels to space out my positions, should I say. So yeah, let's see if we can hold support at down 185, maybe get a bounce, maybe start breaking this falling wedge pattern. But that weekly time frame is looking pretty hardcore right now, in my opinion. If we go back to that weekly time frame, before I really starting to get bullish again, I want to see us break through this weekly 9 moving average. Maybe like I was saying, maybe we're gonna go sideways, let the weekly catch up to us, break it going sideways, then we could really start getting like more confident on targets going to the upside, as opposed to us being more confident at targets going to the downside. We're not at 185 right now. Let's see. I think I put like a limit order like somewhere over here when we started breaking to the downside again. But I'm pretty confident on this right now. We don't have that much farther to go to 185. Let's see if we hold support there though, or if we break it going to the downside. If we break it, then I'm gonna start looking at levels going down. That's about it though. Sorry for not making too many videos. I wish I could quit my job and make videos all day, guys, but it's hard. So if you guys want to support the channel, hit the subscribe button, join the membership, join my Patreon, do all that stuff, or just hit like if you like the video. That's cool too. All right, if you guys like this video, hit that thumbs up, and if you want to watch the last video, check it out right here. If you're new to trading, check out this playlist right here, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.